Amy was making Back to Black with Mark Ronson. And as I was on my way to the airport, Amy calls me and let's meet at the studio. Let's listen to the music. See what you think. Mark's like, we've done about 4 or 5 songs. The first song they play is Rehab. And you're sitting there and you hear the intro and you look at Amy and I'm looking at Mark and I'm like, I said, stop the song. Rewind it, play it again. I've not heard anything like this.
With you being at, Island Records, how did you find yourself in that space? Because I think, it's iconic. I don't know if you noticed, the first time I met you was at that thing in Essex, and it's an island, and you lot took it over.
Yeah, that was a guy that was in complete control that said he could take over an island with the label, and we did it.
Yeah, that was a vibe.
Is that when The Weeknd did it? Did Weeknd play at that time, or was it gigs?
I only went for one day because I went on holiday the next day.
Oh, right.
So I remember every day there was someone, and then you got to stay. And I just remember being on there and being invited and being like, whoa, I'm going to this thing. Yeah. That it's not even like it's like we all got on coaches and it was like, right, everyone's like, Stormzy's here and Fecky was there and everyone was there.
The Magical Mystery Tour.
Yeah, and then I remember that you had these huts that was taken over by like brands, and like HB, Hewlett Packard, was giving out laptops. Yeah. And then everyone was like, yeah, bruv, come. Let's get some laptops. It was very much like, yeah, we're just giving him out to select me.
We did the same. Converse were there at one time, and they just got licked out in the first half an hour by the man then. You know what I mean? There was nothing left for the corporates.
Yeah. But no, I think that was the first time I met you. And you were just mad cool. I remember you were just mad, proper chill. And then like, I think you just said, oh, what's up, man? I really like your stuff, man. And I was like, oh, thanks a lot, man. I was just happy to be in those spaces. Yeah. And then someone even said to me, hey, you know who that is? I said, is it? Oh, okay. All right. Hey, if I ask him, I get a laptop.
But that just gives me joy about where people were in 2016 and where they are now. That just gives me joy, the fact that we have that memory. Yeah. And I was old then and I'm still old now, and it makes me feel old, those conversations. But it's just, whether it's the twins, whether it's you, whoever, Stormzy, it just makes me happy that everybody's where.
How did you find yourself at Island Records? Because Island Records is, I think when I went to that was my realization of, oh, this is Island Records. Because I think sometimes you just know the name, you've heard it, and I know music, but I don't know that side of music. And that was also the realization where I was like, oh, raw, this is a bigger thing than I could ever imagine. Not the fact that we was on this island, but people that are linked to the label, that started from the label, the history of the label. How did you find yourself there?
There's a bit of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, kind of like the golden ticket, and then getting to go into the chocolate factory to see how all the chocolate is made and the Oompa Loompas. Yeah. It was once you get a look into that world, it's pretty Dorothy going to the Oz, and it all going from black and white to Technicolor. Yeah, my life was beige and brown, and I found the music industry, and it just turned into Technicolor. And that was, I was, I'm a West London boy, from the street corner, and I decided to kind of, after school, when we all left school at 16. Some people went to college. Some people that were smart enough went to university, or went to sixth form and then university. And I just left school and started sweeping hair in a salon. And I was in hairdressing. So I subconsciously put me in a place where young black boys like me would never have put themselves in that place. So I put myself socially in a different setup. And so I was meeting people that I would have never have met. And whether it's a conscious thing or a subconscious thing, at that time in the 80s, if you were black and a hairdresser, you were gay. So a lot of people thought I was gay. Even my mates were like, hairdressing? You want to tell us something, Darcus? So, but I subconsciously, I just knew that if you put yourself in different rooms, you'll meet different people. So I met loads of different people that were of different colour to me and a different sexual persuasion, and that was the music industry and the fashion industry. And then one day you make mates, and then one day I'm in Island Records, and you're kind of like, you see pictures of Bob,
Yeah.
and then you tie that back to your mum and dad's record collection. You can smell this smell in the air.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then you kind of like, that reminds me of my yard. And then you see Rastas walking around a record company
Yeah.
because that was Island Records, and it was independent at the time, and still very middle class to upper class white. And I was just this young black boy with dreads.
Yeah.
And I just managed to be in the right place at the right time, blagging some records, and there was a job going making tea. And because I'd been hairdressing on the hairdressing floor, I knew a bit about etiquette and how to look after, how to talk to the client and how to receive the client. I had a bit of socialization.
Yeah.
I wasn't completely socialized, but I was able to kind of go into these different rooms and maybe not be my complete self.
Did you have to code switch a lot?
People call it code switching, right? Or masking. I just knew, and people talk about authentic self.
Yeah.
I just, you find out that I can't be my authentic self because I'll be coming up against myself as an obstacle. So that's where you kind of learn just kind of bite your tongue.
Yeah.
Walk the line. And because otherwise you can walk yourself out of situations if you're this young, over vocal young black angry kid, always trying to throw the metaphorical petrol bomb.
Yeah.
So it was just don't pop your head over the parapet and get it licked off. Just observe and learn.
Yeah.
And suffer the microaggressions, all right? And just try and navigate and just try and stay on the pitch. Because the line I was always told, if you stay on the pitch long enough, you'll score.
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like, right?
Yeah.
Whether that gets you into the next room, whether that gets you from a trial to the full time. It was, it was. When I was coming up, there was a handful of black people in the music industry. When I say a handful, I mean a handful.
Yeah.
Myself, Lincoln Elias, Adrian Sykes, names that no one will know, but there was just a handful of names that I could look at and kind of go, well, they're doing their thing. So it was a lot of network. And then it's funny, the point that you make, when you kind of realise that the music industry is this. I used to just go and buy your vinyl on a Saturday, used to go home and play, and then you realise, oh, there's a whole process behind how this vinyl got made, and there are characters behind this thing.
Yeah, of course.
And there's a whole movie behind this thing, and that's when I was like, I got to see the other side of the looking glass, and it was a place where I wanted to be and wanted to stay. So it was just figuring out how I could just navigate a career in the music industry.
Who were some of the musicians that was there the time that you was there?
Oh my God! Well, we had a studio called the Fallout Shelter where a lot of the island artists would make some of their records. So not that Bob Marley was alive there, but Bob Marley made some of his records in the Fallout Shelter, which was Island's recorded. It was built around the studio. And, U2 used to come and use the studio. Julian Cope, the madness of Julian Cope, the madness of U2. It was very much a label where artists wanted to be, to hang out and to create. No record company was without a studio in those days. We were all attached to or had studios that we were making records downstairs, and we'd bring them upstairs. So when I talk about all this, it's like a bit of a movie. It's like someone else lived that life completely.
Because I always find with the music industry, when you talk of like studios and a record label, a lot of the vision I have is a film, and everyone hangs out there, and it is what, like when you see the Bob Marley film and they're like, yo Bob man, I'm trying to find this groove man, and it's like, yo play that, and then he sings it, and then he's like, no, say it like that.
Yeah.
I've seen it in so many films. Is it like that in the studio, in the sense that you've seen the magic happen and been around it, where you're like, oh my God, I'm witnessing something before it happens.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what that must be like as a song.
That moment always blows my mind, because those moments are fleeting, but those are the moments that you live for, right? Where someone calls, the artist or the manager or the producer calls you and it's like, yo, you need to come down to the studio. You need to listen. You need to listen. And there's two things that either happen. You go down there and you kind of go, you call me in for this. Then you built this thing up to be this thing.
Yeah.
Which is deflating. Or you go to the studio and you hear greatness for the first time. And you don't know how great. You're just hearing this thing for the first time. I remember when Amy was making Back to Black with Mark Ronson, and I was due to fly out to New York to hear what they were working on. And as I was on my way to the airport, Amy calls me and says, my nan has fallen sick. I'm not going to have a lot of time to hang out, so let's meet at the studio, let's listen to the music, see what you think before I fly off. So I get to New York, go straight to the studio, and Mark's like, we've done about 4 or 5 songs, I'm going to play you some. And the first song they play is Rehab. And it's the demo, not the finished record, but not much will change. And you're sitting there and they play you Rehab and you hear the intro and you look at Amy and I'm looking at Mark and I'm like, you just didn't. I said, stop the song, rewind it, play it again. You're listening to Rehab again and you're like, I've not heard anything like this. Right? This, and then they play Back to Black, and you're going, I don't know if this is what I think it is, but it's just making me feel a certain way.
Yeah.
And then history takes care of itself. But and I backtrack. Ray, who was managing Amy, called me and he said, Amy wants to play you a song. I think she's ready to start writing the record. And so she comes in with Ray, my boss at the time, Nick Gatfield. We sit down, Amy sits down and she gets the acoustic, she pulls the acoustic up and she starts playing Love Is a Losing Game. Now that's, I fast forwarded to the studio with Mark, backtrack, it was when she came in, she sat down and she played Love Is a Losing Game to us. And you're kind of like, that's a classic. That's first line of the first verse for You I Was a Flame.
Yeah.
So and if you listen to great records, first line of the first verse you're in. And so that was a moment.
Yeah.
You know, I've had moments where you go down to the studio and you know something's a hit, but you don't know whether something is going to be generational and transcend. Yeah. So I can come up with loads of times I've gone down the studio and gone, wow, that's a hit. But that is a sugar rush. The soul food or the food that's cooked in an arga meant that Amy the artist was going to sit down at some point and write that song. So and that's, those moments are really fleeting because they're generational talent and you won't be around a lot of generational talent. So I think I can talk to many other different instances where people have played me great records and I've been there, but that moment when she came in and played Love Is a Losing Game on the acoustic,
it's like something out of like a film, like a magical moment. Yeah. Because you came across her early demo as a teenager, Amy Winehouse, right? What was it like listening to her as a teenager? Because I remember first seeing Amy Winehouse on the Jonathan Ross show, and I think she was debuting the album Frank, her first album. And it had this soul mixed with a bit of hip hop in there, because I know she samples the Nas track. And I was like, ooh.
Made you look.
I remember hearing it, and I was young those times, and I was like, right, her voice is banging.
Yeah.
But what was it like hearing her before even that? Because I know she went to Brit School and she got an amazing alumni.
Well, I mean, Brit School, I don't think gets their flowers for delivering talent that knows what's required of them. Right, and that's another deeper conversation. But Amy had that performance and that personality in her. What she had musically was easy to understand. She loved jazz and she loved hip hop, and when you listen to the records, it was crystal clear. Jazz was the overarching thing, and hip hop was what underpinned it.
Yeah.
So culturally, you knew what it was straight off the bat. And if you loved hip hop like I did, and you loved vocalists from the past, you would kind of go, "This is Lauryn Hill. This is the miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
Yeah, of course.
This is the Fugees, right? This is Erykah Badu.
Yeah.
And so you could pound for pound put her up with Erykah and the people that she was hanging out with, Mos Def, Nas, and Salam Remy, the producer, was the underpinning of that. So it was an easy place for me to get to. The classic jazz voice, Dinah Washington, Billie Holiday, so and you know, the beats of hip hop, you know, Mr. Magic, right, that Nas sample. So it was already telling its story. How lyrically she was breaking it down was this girl from North London that you could hear the drawl in her in how she enunciated, and she was writing about her dad's Freudian side at the age of 16 on what it is about men. Right, so she was just doing all of these incredible things, from being almost poetry, lyrically almost poetry, lyrically a young, fierce, independent girl, and musically just beautiful jazz arrangements underpinned by the drum and the snare of hip hop. So it was an easy place for a lot of people to get to. The only thing that Amy didn't have going for her at the time was that she wasn't easy personality. She used to say it as it is. She used to call it, and some people just didn't like how direct she was. So she rubbed people up the wrong way on that first album, personality wise. But lyrically, when people was like, "Yeah, but there's no chorus," and I'm like, "Have you listened to the lyrics? Like this is art." All right. So what I wasn't sure about was whether the art could get to commerce with Amy. But when I learned Rehab, you were just like, damn, you know. So yeah, it's and that was after a lot of failures. A lot of artists that I signed that you would never know or hear of would get me to be able to refine myself, to be able to get to the artists and understand the artists like Amy or the Sugababes, and be able to make records with them and repeat.
How important is it for you in terms of, because I could assume there is these magical moments that you have with an artist where you're like, this is going to be a hit, but then you're also in an industry which is also about business as well. So how hard is it to separate each one? Because I guess there's an ego that comes with an artist, and then you're seeing someone and you're like, hey, you're not there yet, you know, to be like, I need puppies in the rider. I need that. But then there's also the business side where you're like, but we need to get the best out of them. And maybe if they do need temperatured water, let's just get that for them, because they might get the best out of the musician. I'm so intrigued about that as musicians, because whenever I've been around musicians, and I'm like, bro, this is what it's like, boy. This is amazing, this rider. But comedy is so stripped back. It's probably the opposite.
Because you walk on the stage and just your mic and the lighting.
That's it.
Right? We've got to have backline. You know, band have got to travel. Instruments have got to travel. The production of the show, the backdrop, the sounding guy, the lighting guy, the rig, all of this stuff. So, you know, the combination of when you sign an artist, the advance, the recording costs, and the tour support. That's a lot of money to go out even before a record is sold. Right. So it depends on how much pressure in the deal you put on the artists, how much pressure from the business side you put on the artists by how big the deal is and how much people have taken off the table. And if you take a lot of money off the table, it gives you less time to find out whether this is going to work or not. If you take less money, it gives you more time. So confidence works in different ways. People think that people think that confidence is just getting the biggest deal and taking it all off the table. Yeah. Well, then you just better be ready, and you better be moving already. Yeah, of course. Right. Because if you're not moving already and you're at a standstill, that momentum to get you ready is going to require a lot of investment. And if it takes a long while to get you up and running, and you've done a big deal, the economics will all converge at a time when you didn't want it to in your development, because everybody did the big money deal. So what does confidence look like? People are high-fiving when they've won the deal and they've paid the dough, but what if you sign a act on a Friday for big money? What are you doing on a Monday? Because on a Monday you better just be up and running. You better be able to sell out that 200 venue gig. You better be able to get right to the heart of it, if that's the kind of day you've taken. If not, then leave space for development. And if you're confident, you will get back to the table. Right? So a lot of for me, the best deals are the ones that give artists a chance to really thrive and find themselves. Because if you do a deal too soon, you'll get found out. And if you do a deal and you sign an artist and 6 months later you still haven't got a record out, it's usually you sign the record too soon. You sign the artist too soon. Okay. If you're not signing them on a Friday and putting the record out, and this is just from life experience. If you're putting a record, if you sign them on the Friday and you're putting a record out on a Monday, there's upside. It's just about how much upside. If I've given someone $250,000 and 18 months later they still ain't got the record out, it's an expensive deal, right? Because you just mashed up my forecast. I've paid all this money out this year and I'm not getting a record. And then stuff starts to smell and start feel stale, and then you get further away from the excitement that you had when you did the deal. So more often than not, the excitement comes, you sign and you put the record out and you're just going. Otherwise, people are sitting there you're still waiting on the bus 6 months later. And then I guess what happens with music, because I always see it from an outside perspective, where the fans are then like, oh, where's the album? Where's the album? Yeah, where's the music? Where's the music? Once you start, especially in today's landscape, you just can't stop. So it's and the landscape's a lot more brutal than it used to be. You used to be able to just go on radio and go on TV and have a hit. And I was going to ask you that. How do you think music has changed? Music has flipped completely on its head to people being in control of the levers that get artists to the marketplace. The model is much more fan centric. The record company used to sign the artist and help them find the fan. The artist now has got to find the fan. The excitement of the music industry was always about a new artist breaking. And that excitement isn't there anymore, because it takes a lot longer for artists to come through. Olivia Dean was signed 8 years ago, and she's being hailed as a new artist breakthrough now. Oh wow! So that's how long it takes. Right. And there's a bit of being post-COVID about that. I think COVID messed up a lot of things, but if the artist can't find their own fans, the record company can't find it for you. Right? You've got to build your own community. So technology has changed the delivery system, and people have relied on technology, but the getting people in the room to buy the ticket is still the source. People coming out on a Friday night or it was Thursday night at the O2 to come and see you. I don't know when they bought their ticket, but they would have planned that. Right? You even talk about it in your show. 100%, So, and when people arrive, someone doing a set that they prepared a year ago. So what does that mean for the music industry and artists that are coming through and preparing yourself to go and be this thing that doesn't stop?
Yeah.
Well, you better be sitting on a lot of prep and a lot of songs that when you go, you just go. So, you know, the live is really important because AI and the algorithm can't get there. And if you can sell a ticket, that's true building community.
Yeah.
And then it's about how you can scale up your community. Can you go from the Village Underground or the Scala to the O2? Right?
Do you think some artists are doing that too quick when it comes to some of these big venues?
100. Because and you can't skip up those. You can't skip those stages out of growth. But social media has you thinking that you can because of the kind of likes that you're getting,
20,000 likes,
and the interaction, and then they put on a tour, and it doesn't sell as much as they think their socials. Well, I've had 1.5 million views on this thing. Well, it doesn't mean you're going to sell 1.5 million tickets, right? So there's a reality to what people's platforms and their socials are to whether they can sell 100-cap venue. Yeah. Right? And that first 100-cap venue, you know that next time is going to be 250 because those same people are going to come with someone else. And then you got the patience to just hit those different rooms to get bigger, that by the time you go to O2, that's when you drop the radio record. Yeah. That's when you try and cross over. That's when because that's the tickets are telling you that. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And then are you gassed that I'm here now? No, you double down and do it again. Yeah. And then people kind of go, right, this is solid. I believe this. I believe this. And then the artist has got enough material to sit on that they can interchange their set out because they've made a couple of albums. Costume changes.
Perform at the back, come on a rope.
All of stuff. That. But off the back of one album, you got a handful of songs to mess around with. So it's what are you gigging, right? And how does that just get you from different rooms to different rooms? Because making the records is and putting out records is a different kettle of fish. So and then when you arrive at some of these places, because people have put out some tunes and you go to see them live and you go, oh my God, they can't sing. They don't understand what it is to perform. Yeah. Right? And because that is a craft all on its own. It's
different, I guess, than making the music in the studio.
Making the music is easy. The craft of live is why someone will have a career. Records, having a hit record doesn't mean a career. Having a hit song doesn't mean a career. Being able to tour and be touring 2 or 3 albums worth of material is when you know you're locked. First album is easy. Second album is hard. Third album is I'm here. Yeah. Right? And that speaks to all the work that you've done. You've played to one man or one woman and their dog, and you've gone through all of those different scenarios that when you get to the O2, the stage isn't too big for you. Right? And you can just go with you one on the stage and just take it down. So that's the records, voice, everything that's one thing, but the importance of live and what that means to career 20 years down the line. Why is someone here 20 years down the line? It's because of the catalogue that they build up, and everybody has a dud. Because no one can keep. So allow for the duds. You got to make enough stuff that you can do duds. Because if you do duds and then come back from that dud and do something great, it's a dud. Everyone does something not great in their time. Not everything can be great. So that thing that everything has to be great is it doesn't. Yeah. If you make that great thing first by a fluke, that's the albatross that you'll never be able to get from around your neck because you did it on the first album. Yeah. And you're going to get that first album syndrome because you can't repeat it for the second album. So that making that album with Amy, which is her first album, it's not perfect. Rough edges, it's not her favourite. She tells people that I made it not her favourite because of 2 songs that I convinced her to put on the album, which was Amy, 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 and Help Yourself. So she made and controlled the situation and made a body of work that she went, this is it, and you're not going to change it. And that was Back to Black, 10 tracks, 37 minutes long. I was like, you sure this is too short, Amy? She was like, this is the album.
Yeah.
So you just got to allow people missteps. And can they get it together on their 8th album, that they actually really know what they're doing, because they're on their 8th album, right? You know, Coldplay first album to where they are now. How do you keep doing that? Now, I don't know if any of those albums have been not as great as the album before, or you know, but it doesn't matter because they've just built out this legacy. So all the artists that I've worked with that have become career artists, they're 3-4 albums deep, and have got careers of 10 to 15 to 20.
Is it easier working with an artist like that? Because I assume an artist like that knows what they want and want to create. So does that make your job easier or harder?
It's easier and harder. It's easy because they do have a vision for themselves. It's harder because you don't want to interfere in those people that can get there with their own vision. So all you're trying to do is put up guardrails. Well, you know, when you go bowling, those guardrails come up. You're just trying to, or you're trying to give them just advice, or brave enough to tackle something. Because they do have a vision. You know, I wouldn't tell Bono how to make a record. And I'd only give my opinion. Who am I to tell Bono and The Edge how to make records? And then there's records like, you know, with a lot more that are more developing artists or a bit more in terms of life experience. I've got more life experience, then I can give them that kind of advice. And then there's just kind of setting up the room with the writer and the right writer and the right artist to make some magic. But there's artists that you roll your sleeves up and you get into it, and there's artists that you have to leave alone
and do their thing.
When
you let them do their thing, is that where you have to almost get into the business side away from it, in a sense of like, I'm gonna let you crack on with that, but my job is now to set up the X, Y's and Z's and the records or whatever it is that's the heavy lifting of the business side that we would never see. Do you know what I mean? There
are some band like Bombay Bicycle Club. They could deliver their album to me, and I wouldn't tell them that there's a song light or there's not a radio record on there, because that's not what they're built for. George the Poet. Right.
Yes.
You just do you. Right. So, I mean, if I'm being totally honest, if you left the running of the business to me, I'd probably take the company down. because I didn't really care about the business. There was other people that did that. I was always of the mind, just tell me when the money runs out or the money is running out. My job was just to make sure that we always had a release schedule of artists coming. That would take care of the business. If you could manage a release schedule correct with your established artists that were returning because they were successful on the first album, and new artists coming through, if you could get that churn going, your release schedule would look after you, but you had to look after the release schedule.
Because I have heard this. I have heard that when a big artist comes in, not so much comes in, is coming back. I don't know, let's use an example like Ed Sheeran, for example. He's like, I'm going to release a new album. I've heard that for the record labels, it's better for them to sign someone who's quite new, because they're like, well, if this album might not do as well, we got Ed. Is that true?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because you've got, I call it artists that are able to give air cover to the new developing artists. And our bread and butter, again, is about breaking artists. We lose money breaking the artist, but we get it back if we break them.
Okay.
Right? So there's what we used to call write-off money. You're writing it off because you're signing these acts that may never break, that may never happen. We spend millions on artists that may never happen. Our job is to make them happen. So the money that we spent write off money, we write back, right? And if you're writing back artists that are starting to be successful, right, money's starting to come back in, right? And so you're breaking artists, creating a pipeline of economics coming back in. So if you have a rough time breaking the newest act, you still got the economics of these acts taking care of the business. Because the new acts will eat up your profits. The delivering new acts will eat up the money that you're making with the new artists. The new artists that you're trying to break, you're using the dough that you're making with the artists that you've broken. So let's say that's the returning artist. That's the returning artist. Coming back, big album, like an Ed Sheeran as an example. Okay. So if you misspend and spend a shitload on all the new artists coming through, and your new artists don't hit, the returning artists don't hit on their second album, you're going to create a discrepancy in the return, right? So
see, now you're telling me now this is the music business.
That's the music business. So you better break something in that calendar year, right? And even if our new acts, our returning acts, took care of business, we would still get it in the net because we didn't break any artists. Because our job is to break new artists, right? The rest takes care of itself, whether they get to second album or third album. Our job is to get them on the runway and their first album and get them on the road to being a breaking artist. So what you used to be able to do in old money in a calendar year, it takes 3 or 4 years now.
Oh, really?
Because the market's just proliferated. Radio's not the driver. You don't go on a TV show and just break out anymore. Yeah,
because you would normally get someone that performing like a Graham Norton to a track. People love the track. They're
4 weeks of play on radio, and then all of a sudden
the
single's in the chart. You know, we're in a global market now. When we put out a record, we're not putting it out in the UK. We're putting it out to the whole of the world. And if we're not competing with Korea and BTS and Blackpink and all the records and all the artists that Korea are putting around the world, and you're not making records that can compete with the Afro records that are coming from Africa now, and then you've got America online, and then you've got South America, where the UK used to be quite central to sending our stuff around the world. Now you've got Korea, now you've got Africa, now you've got the Middle East, now you've got India. So you're in a global market now. So what we do has to compete on that level out the box. Otherwise, we're just we're just behind. We're just little old UK. And that's not enough anymore.
I want to ask you, how important is breaking America still? Because I felt like that was always a question amongst musicians of, you know, you've got to go there, and you know, and you was president of Island Records US as well, and I always found it so interesting. I know in terms of the US, when it comes to breaking, you know, just media in general, they export it everywhere around the world. You know, you was talking about Eddie Murphy, and he says, and I think it might be Raw Delirious, where pretty much anywhere in the world they know who he is, and that's purely from media, mainstream media. And how important still is that to this day? Does that still matter when you're talking about, you know, you've got Bad Bunny, for example, who's doing, you know, halftime show at the Super Bowl. How important still is America in the music market today?
America, it's a myth, right? America's hard to break. Very hard to break. Not even Americans can break America. There's Americans trying to break America. There's people in America, from America, trying to break America. It's hard. And you know, I've had number ones in America, and I've had number one albums, number one singles, and it's a good feeling. But it's even harder now. Breaking America, before, you used to be successful in the UK. Then it was about, can you stretch that success to Europe and places in Europe. Could you break Germany? Can you break France? Can you break Can you break Belgium? Can you? So, if you could break the major territories in Europe, right? Then so you were breaking out of the UK and in Europe, and that used to take you a good year or 18 months. And if you could do that, then and you had the right song, then maybe the Americans might have a run at you having a run at America. The American label might go, all right, you've done a million records in the UK and the rest of Europe. I think you deserve a run at trying to break America. Now that's after 18 months of work, the UK and Europe, and then you would go to America. So the timeline of working an album and breaking America, you could be working an album for 3 years, 3 or 4 years, because by the time you get to America, you're maybe 2 years after the record's been released. Right? So you just had to go territory by territory, UK, Europe, and then have a run at America, because you've done 500,000 records outside America. So there's a story. So you go to America with a story. You can't just go and break America, right? You know, when I went out to run the US label, the amount of incoming I had from other UK labels in the Universal system saying, could I give the UK acts a run in the US market? And I just used to sit there in my office in New York, and I just used to look out the window while I was listening to these records and go, no, no. As I sit here in my New York office and I listen to these records from the UK, no. You know, because if your records have to be on par with the best of the best that's already operating in America or Korea. If you're making Afro records, they better be better than Burna. They better be better than Davido and Wizkid. Right? If you're making R&B records here, they better be better than Kalani and Doechii and yeah. So if you're not waking up in the morning and your records aren't competing on a global level, then you're just local. And
because it is a big place.
Yeah,
America.
because so when you release, if you
big.
release out of Korea, if you're a Korean artist or an American artist, you're releasing in a country in a country that has big volume of streaming numbers. When we release here, we release from a very small platform in the UK. So our records have got to be able to, like you say, you've got to be able to wake up in Australia and go, we don't have this here, I love this. Yeah. Because every country now has got their own version of a girl group or an R&B singer or a rapper. You know, so people don't wake up going, we need music from the UK anymore. Yeah. So what does that mean when we go to the studio in South London and we're making records? Right? What are you putting them out for? Are you putting them out to take over the world, or are you putting them to stay local? So that people have just got to understand the levels of competition that's out there, and who you competing with. Are you competing with someone down the road, or are you competing with someone in another country? What inspires you now? Because I feel like you've been around music. I presume you've been around music more within your adult life, in a sense of that this is what you've pretty much done. Do you know what I mean? So what's the thing that drives you now? Do you know what I mean? What drives me now is I was lucky that I made you make it, and you're around good people and you work with great people, and I'm good. But once if you've got to a level and you kind of go, what's next after all that I've been through. I remember shooting a documentary and having the premiere of the documentary at BAFTAs, and the room wasn't full of people that I knew when I made CEO or when I was president. It was all the people that I remember from when I first started. The room was full of people that looked like me, that didn't feel that I had left it all behind. Right. So it felt like I still had stuff to do as a black man that had come back, had been to the top of the hill, and had come back and seen people build what they're doing. So it was, if I've had all of this sets working for this corporate company, what is that? What do I do and what do I build that because I'm a creator, so that's what I'm always going to do. It's what is my relationship to that creation process and the give back process. And you know, if you can come back from America and see people like Jay Brown and Jay-Z build Rock Nation, right, and or Quality Control, what does that feel like here? Because I could just disappear in a puff of smoke, but I still feel that I've got. I think that in answer to your question, I think the people are making me more excited because I get excited about what people are excited about.
Yeah.
I used to get excited about the music that I wanted to sign. I'm too old for that now, so I think I'm excited by other people and their journeys. Of
course.
So I think it's just being able to create that platform that gives people the ability to succeed. So that a lot sits under that umbrella. Mental health sits under that umbrella, because I got not just, but the last couple of years I got diagnosed with ADHD and complex PTSD, and what that is for black men, that we run around normalising a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So, and what was a barrier for me, or could have been, was a barrier for all my other mates that turned left when I turned right. So there's a lot under, as long as music soundtracks it, there's a lot of stuff under that umbrella that I'm passionate about. I think people's journeys.
Do you have any regrets within, like, your career? Like, was there anyone you ever wanted to sign where, I don't know, maybe as a young guy spitting bars outside King's Cross and went on to be the next big thing, or you was like, oh, he's quite good, but no.
No, I don't have those regrets anymore. I think when I was coming up and think, oh, have I missed something? But you can't sign everything. You just got to be comfortable. There's a lot of stuff I missed. There's a lot of stuff the team missed, and there's a lot of stuff that the team missed because I didn't like it.
Was there anyone in particular that you like?
I mean, it's Ed Sheeran. It's Ed Sheeran. Yeah, I mean, but you know, and everybody knows that story. The myth of me turning down Ed Sheeran. I didn't turn down Ed Sheeran. I just didn't understand it, and sometimes people lobby you really hard to sign stuff, and I didn't feel that I was lobbied hard enough. What I learned in that instance right there was I started to believe our own hype, that my opinion mattered, and in that moment my opinion didn't matter, and that's when I learned your opinion doesn't matter. Sometimes you just go, I don't have no idea, it just feels exciting. I have no idea, but Annie is excited about Ed. Crack on. Because that's when we won. And when we were becoming super successful, you start going, I know how this shit runs.
Yeah.
It's not my gut, I can smell it. Yeah. And then it humbles you.
Yeah.
The world humbles you, and you kind of go,
course.
It's not, it's just back people's excitement. And you're not going to win every time.
Yeah.
But when you win spectacularly. Right. So we've done spectacular things. So there's not stuff that I have to be regretful about. What I was truly regretful, what I was really truthfully regretful was the place I took myself to be super successful, and how much I wasn't present at home. And that's the one thing I regret. Whether I didn't know you could be present and be successful, I wasn't present. And that's the kind of stuff I've been trying to unpick and put back together, was knowing that even though I was in the room when my kids were growing up, I wasn't present because I was just in what I was doing 24/7.
Tunnel vision.
Tunnel vision.
Blinkers on,
and until you come up for air because you've crashed and burned, right, because nothing's sustainable as you just kind of just go for. I left school at 16 and didn't stop till a couple of years ago in terms of that. And there's a lot that you miss, but you think you smelt the flowers, but you just walked past the flowers and just got a faint aroma. You didn't stop to smell the flowers.
Yeah.
You know, you were in New York or LA when your daughter was walking for the first time, and when she's going, "Daddy, Daddy," you're just like, "No, I'll be with you in a moment. I'll be with you in a moment." But you're never there in the moment. So that's my regret. Everything else is the business. But I took myself to be that successful, and that's why the book I wrote, or the documentary that you thing was only to read it and kind of go, "There's no advice to be given here. This is what happened with me. Take from it what you will. Be careful what you wish for. Do you really want to be a leader? Do you really want to get to that 1%?
Yeah.
Because to live in that person's brain, you don't want to be in that person's brain.
It's one thing on the outside, but what's going on inside?
Because with success comes more anxiousness and pressure that you can go and deliver. So you have this number one, and you're kind of going, "Woo!" Oh, and we've got to go and do it again. Oh God! And that's a thing to get yourself up for, and to keep doing it and to keep doing it. So yeah, it's moments of success are fleeting. Understand that. The rest is really hard, and be careful, because if you're not present, you'll wake up and your kids will go, you haven't seen them for a while, or there's not a connection there, and your missus will be like, what's the, when when the wife goes, I don't think I love you anymore, and it's like, what did I do? Is it what I did last week? And they go, last week? It's been years.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad that my wife and my kids had patience, because being successful just meant that I wasn't present.
Yeah.
So if I know what I know now, would I have been able to be present and being successful? I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I don't know whether the two are compatible, right? And people that are super successful, you arrive at these places, and half the people that started with you aren't in the room because they couldn't stay the course. And some of those people might be people that are close to you.
Yeah.
So I'm very mindful of success, and the conversation about success, and the conversation about fame, of what it gives you, but what it takes away from you. Because you can arrive at being the most successful person there is, and I've seen it, and you're not happy. So those are my regrets. And I sit with people now, and I go, your mental health is so important, because you'll arrive at a place where it's not sustainable, and that's what success looks like.
Yeah.
So if you know all those things, what are you putting in place, or what are you doing different, that you don't gash yourself? That you do go, can I do this again?
Yeah. Be excited for it, I guess, as well.
Yeah, I mean, the excitement is the adrenaline that keeps you going. And sometimes that you don't see the obstacles, and you just jump these obstacles because you're not even afraid. Yeah. But where does chasing success actually really get you? So the economics, wicked, but I'd rather have the economics and my family together. So I'm not trying to get too deep about it, but to want to be that successful comes with a lot of caveats, and just be mindful of that. Yeah,
because they say that about success, you have to be really selfish, and you do, like you're saying, you will miss out on the moments in life that you sit there and go, oh my God, I missed that, or I didn't wish that person happy birthday, and that's all they wanted, as opposed to me saying, come to the party, bro. Yeah, it's gonna be live, I've got you on guest list, and they're like, I just wanted let's have a drink with you, bro. Let's catch up. And just before you leave, what do you want your legacy to be? What, in terms of leaving behind? Because I know you've done a documentary, and we can catch it on. It's on YouTube and stuff as well.
Channel 5 and Channel 5 streaming on demand and YouTube. That's what I've been taught to say. Yeah.
But what do you want to leave behind? Because I think that as a blueprint is one thing where you've left. It's like you're saying where you have this body of work, people you've worked with, and a journey, and even on what you're saying now today is like there's so many little gems and quotables in there, but you're in a place now where you're like, I want to make sure I'm enjoying this
Yeah.
a bit more, as opposed to just living in the moment.
Yeah.
And the moment's happening and I'm around it, but if I take myself out, you can kind of see what's going on a little bit. So what's the legacy that you want to leave behind now?
I think that I just look at my dad, Darcus Howe, and my mother, what they fought for when I was a kid was to have my run at life. And if they fought for my right just to have a run at life, they were doing the same, not just for me, but for all of people that look like me at that time. I do exactly the same for my kids, and in turn for everyone. And the same way that people have said, have marked my dad down as someone who's did this and they took this from him and were inspired to do that, that's all you can hope for. That whether it's Twin or Ben Scar or the young kid that writes my book and then messages me, that's all you can hope for, because at the end of it, you're just a headstone and some dust. Right? So if you can leave some references and tools behind, and you're part of the landscape of the history of music. So I become now part of lived history. I'm living what will become history with all the artists and the music and the people. As my dad and my mum lived the history that's lived it and now has become history and has become flags in the ground or resources for people to go to or to understand who are the architects of our tomorrow. Yeah. So I just hope that, like my mum and like my dad, if I want my kids to do well, I want all kids to do well. Legacy is a hard thing, because like I said, my dad was a novelist and a political agitator, and my great uncle C.L.R. James wrote classic novels. So this is my small offering as to the progression of people. Yeah. So not to be too deep about it, but I now that it's all been laid out, I even see I've done some bits. And if I've done some bits, what does that mean selfishly and unselfishly? Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at the moment, and everything now is because I want to do it and I love to do it. I don't have any. I don't have to hit a number. Yeah, yeah. Right. So, yeah.
And before you go, we also have an audience question. Okay, here we go. Hey, Darcus, big fan. You've been in a lot of rooms, but what is the craziest room that you've ever been in?
When I moved to America, that's the kind of madness of the different rooms that you're in. Yeah. You go to the studio, Buster wants to meet you, so you're in the studio with Buster. And again, I've Chuck D, who's my hero, I had to give him a lift to Kentish Town tube station and rear-ended the car with him in it and nearly gave him whiplash. Mike Tyson comes to the party off his head on magic mushrooms. Eddie Murphy's house, Lionel Richie's house, going around John Bon Jovi's house to listen to the record, getting a call from Bono to come down to the studio to listen to the recording, or Bono hasn't finished the lyric to the song, so the instrumental's playing, but he's sitting next to you singing in your ear the lyric, and you're sitting there going, Bono's just sitting kneeling next to me singing the unfinished lyric in my ear. America was crazy because you're so close to the sun that the rooms that you're in are so Hollywood, and people that, I mean, that's why I love the music industry, because I've just been in and around my heroes. But it's not until you get to America that the people that you're in the rooms with that you've seen on movie screens.
Yeah.
Or they were the heavyweight champion of the world, and it was Mike Tyson. So, and what I love about that question, that still doesn't get lost on me to this day, is being around those kind of people. And that excitement and that buzz never gets lost on me. I'm still a kid, even now. I'm 56, and if I meet people, I'm like, this job is just mad, because I'm just living in a movie. People have asked me about my life. I'm just in rooms where I'm just like, did that happen? So I'm with that person. I just got the call from, I was just on the phone with Lauryn Hill, because I tried to sign Lauryn Hill, and then I couldn't, because my boss wouldn't let me. But I'd wound up Lauryn Hill so much that when the news got back to her that I was pulling out the deal, she calls me and almost says, did the slave master make me jump? Right? So you have mad conversations with legends. You're in room with legends. You're drinking with them. You're smoking with them, and you get home of an evening, and you sit down and you just kind of go, mad.
Yeah.
Mad.
Oh man, Lionel Richie, boy, just dancing on the ceiling, boy.
We were there. He's got this famous golf course that his mansion backs out onto. He's in Beverly Hills, and there's a high net that catches all the golf balls so they don't come over into Lionel's yard or his neighbour's yard, and some of the balls get through the net. Yeah. So I was like, so what happens with the balls? He goes, I just throw them back. And I was like, are you ever over there playing golf? He went, over there? He's like, no. I said, how come you don't play golf? He said, I'm not allowed over there. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, no blacks allowed. And I was like, what? He said, yeah, it's for white and Jewish people only. And I'm like, no, I think it was whites only. And I was like, just whites? He said, yeah, and the Jewish lot, they got their own golf course down the road. And I was like, today, Lionel Richie, you can't go over there and play golf. And I was like, damn, stuff is still like that. So that was an eye opener. Yeah. And that was being black in America is a movie. Because it doesn't matter how big you get, how rich you are in America, America will make you feel poor and black. American cops, America will make you feel, right, I am black. It doesn't matter how wealthy you are. It doesn't. Being black in America is to live. It's James Baldwin's famous quote. I think it's to live is to wake up in a state of rage every day. And I was in America during COVID and Black Lives Matter, George Floyd, and by the time I got to 3 years in, I'm like, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. And I was a black CEO in America living on the Upper West Side, and I was like, I'm out, because being black in America is a movie. It doesn't matter how big they allow you to get. If you get too big, and I've just seen it happen, and in America I saw it happen up close, and I was just like, I'm out. So interesting times.
Oh, Darcus, I feel like we could talk for another hour.
Always the way, man.
I swear to you, man.
Always the way.
It's such a pleasure to properly sit down and talk to you, though, man, because the last time I did see it, like I said, it was in 2016, but also like getting your perspective of the industry of the music business, because there'll be a lot of people listening to this that, we just listen to the songs and consume it. We never see the background, and it's a bit like sometimes television or comedy where it's like, I didn't know it took you a year to write that. But I think in an industry that is, you're surrounded by almost every day. The adverts you hear is a song. There's so much that goes into it that you would never know. And to know that you're like at the forefront of some people's journeys, the Amy Winehouses, the Bombay Bicycle Club, Jessie J's, the list goes on. It's endless and endless, but also the legacy that you want to leave behind of just like blueprints and reference points is it's vital. And there'll be young A&Rs that will listen to this and be like, oh right, he's like sometimes where people say, would you take the the money or the dinner with Jay-Z.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the dinner with Jay-Z right now.
Well, that's the thing, because the meeting with Jay-Z, you'll get to the dough.
Yeah.
The dough will always be there, but how do you get to it? I mean, that's your journey to the O2 is that's the journey from me, because 2016 was 10 years ago.
Yes, yeah.
So that's a decade of just hard work, and if you can put that decade in, you've got another decade.
Yeah. So
I where I am now, and just to end all of this, I met and sat down with Miss Anne Harriman.
Oh yes, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it was one of the best sit downs I've had with someone, because I wasn't in that I was in this place of, what is it just to sit down with interesting people and figure out why you would be having another cup of coffee again, and end up, whether it's network or collaborating. So when decks are clear, we should just go and have a grown up, chop it up kind of coffee, just discover the world's ills and what and the different processes, right? Because my thing is, music every room you're in, music soundtracks it. That means I'm in every room. I've just got to figure out in what guise that is. Sometimes it's the artist, sometimes it's catalogue, sometimes it's collaboration to create some tech. So yeah, I just think if we're all getting to a place at a certain time in our lives, how do we use our life experience and our powers? All right, so that's the mission.
Oh, it's been a pleasure, man.
All right. So
this has been your beginning, middle, and end, my friend.
End, right?
Thank you so much, bro.
I appreciate you.
No, I appreciate you, bro.
All right.
Hey, what's up? Thank you so much for listening to the podcast today. Now, a lot goes into making each episode. I know you hear my voice, but there's a team behind the scenes who help make it. And if you did enjoy it, I'd really, really appreciate if you could show the love to them by giving us 5 stars. And if you also have the time, please leave us a review. It's always appreciated, and we love reading the comments. And of course, we want to keep making it better. Thank you for listening, and have a great day. Peace.